Right, I'm waiting for some parts turning up for one of my bikes, but in the meantime my girlfriend's new bike, which is a 13 plate FLD Switchback, all black controls and everything. I'm taking all this lot off and I'm putting chrome stuff on, but I'm also putting heated grips on. So what I'll do is I'll go through the processes, the proper Harley Davidson heated grips, so you get the proper, they're exactly the same as what I have on my electric glide, and out of the heated grips that I've used over the years on Harleys, them ones that I've got on my electric glide at the minute are by far the best I've ever had out of Harley stuff, because they're not usually that reliable. But anyways, I'm going to fit a set of them. I'm also eating chocolate, if you wonder what the brakes are. So yeah, I'm going to strip these down, take all the black off. I've got chrome switch covers, which I'll put on as well. Show you how the wires, how you fire the wire through the bars from one side to the other, obviously for the, so you can heat the pair. And yeah, we'll just go from there. So I'm just going to knock you off for a minute while I get a couple of tools out, and then we'll start taking it to bits. Right, back in a minute. Right. Pardon me. First thing I want to do is take the mirror off. Now, there's a bolt underneath that's in line with the bottom of the stem. It's also the bracket that holds the indicator. I know you can't see the indicator at the minute, you maybe can just see the bottom of it there. But you just loosen it off and just be careful, because you don't want to be dropping your indicator down and whacking it into your tank, chip your paint, etc. Right, so that's the indicator off, you can see there. So I'm just going to let that hang down. Also, I'll be able to pull the mirror through. I'll just put the nut back on, sorry. I'll just stick that to one side for now. Right, so that was the first thing, obviously getting rid of the mirror and the indicator. Now they will be going back on. Rag. Yeah, everything will be going back on, the mirror and indicator and that, so it's just, obviously you need to take it off so you can take all this off. Another thing I need to do, I need to adjust the clutch cable to full maximum play, so that I can then take the clutch lever, like take the clutch cable off. And I've obviously got some nice dirty grease under there, it's all over my finger. Shitty stuff. Never to worry. Right, I'm just going to adjust this clutch cable, so I'll be back in a sec. Right, I've took the I've loosened the clutch cable on the adjuster so that this has got maximum slack in it. Now you should be able to just pull it, well, as you can see there, all the slack. Just pull it in, and then you can pull, as you let the lever back out, push the lever back out, the cable's coming out with it. So that makes for an easy thing to get the clutch off. But obviously it's still on at the minute because I need to take this pin out. Once it comes off, there's a peg, it goes through the middle of the lever that holds the cable in, which I'll take off when I've knocked this out. So I'll just knock you off again for a minute and just set you. Right, I'm going to do next, undo these two screws. The pedestal, these hold on the other half of the bit that's holding the clutch lever on. I know my hands are in the way. So just undo them, or slacken them off should I say, and then just take them right out. These black ones, obviously I've got chrome ones to replace them, so these won't be getting put back on. But always keep your stuff together, keep it to one side. Right. I'm just going to let that hang for now. I can actually take the clutch cable off now. I'll just let it hang there a sec, and I'm just going to loosen. In fact, no, I will. I'll take it off now and then it's done. Well, hopefully you'll be able to see. Right, when the lever comes round like that, you can see you've got this bit here. That one way or the other comes out, which as you can see, oh, I'll just push that back in. Right, I'll try and keep it in view this time. You can see it's sticking out a little bit there, so I just push from underneath and that comes out, and then basically just pull the clutch cable out. So that's the cable out of the lever. Now the lever I'll just stick to one side for now because I need to take the lever off to put on the new chrome housing. So that can sit over there for a minute. And the next thing I'm going to do is start taking these off, but I'm getting covered in shit off this, a lot of greasy crap on this, so I'm just going to knock it off a minute and get some gloves. Right, I'm going to take this switch housing off. Now there's a screw just here on the front, just says hey, on this side it is actually, just there, and then there's one on the top at the back of the, well it's actually the front of the bike. So the little Torx screws on this one, the standard Torx, now whether or not the Torx on like anything else, I don't know. So as you see there, it's come loose. Screw out. And then we need to split. Top half just comes off, which I'm surprised at. I didn't realise that it would do that. Must be the way they work on the newer ones. So I'll just drop that off a second. The grip looks as if it's glued on, which is annoying. Right, as I said, keep all your stuff together, so I'm just going to go and put that in a pile. Now, what you've got in your housings is little Torx screws, which I think is smaller than what I've got here. Which I'll get you in a better position in a minute to show you the inside of here. Basically what it does is it takes your cabling out, and there's a brake light switch. No, there isn't. There's like a clutch switch on the back of these ones. So when you pull your clutch in, it presses the button, and I think it's so you can start it when it's in gear, some safety thing. But yeah, the switches are held in by two screws on the bottom. So I'll just stop there for a second and get a different Torx bit and then we'll come back. Right, you can see inside here there's a screw there and a screw there, and that's what's holding the switch gear in. So we'll just undo them. Be careful not to lose your screws. And that should all just lift out, and that was a clamp, by the way, that just fell off. Just zoom back out a little bit. Yeah, it's just a little plastic cover that sits inside there, the other way up obviously. No, that was right. It's the other way around maybe. Yes, just sits inside the switch housing, holds everything in place. So that's that off. The next thing we need to do is get this grip off, which seems to be a bit tight at the minute, and then we'll take the the black covers off the switches and replace it with chrome covers. So I'll just knock you off for a second again. We'll come back in a minute. Right, back again. On the last clip that we did, obviously I'd just taken the switches out of the switch housing, and I says, right, I'll be back, this is to come off, etc. Well, when I knocked the camera off, one of my mates turned up, and that was it. I got nothing else done. And basically this clip is like 3-4 days later, so continuity, different shirt. Anyways, back onto this grip. So it's tight. It's probably been glued on right on the end, and way to get them off is don't try and rive. Don't be stupid and stick things down there to try and break it. Just twist it, and what you'll do is it'll twist one way, and I can actually hear it going. Once you've broken the glue off, which you can see is bits and pieces. I don't know if you'll be able to see down there. No, you won't be able to see. If I put that close to camera, I still don't know if you'll hear it, but that noise you can hear, that's the glue inside breaking off. So yeah, so you can see by the bar, there's like there was glue there, for instance. There's glue there, not massive amounts of it. There's a strip of glue down this back side that you won't be able to see. But yeah, that's sort of a standard thing with the old rubber, with the rubbery grips. They just put a tiny little bit dotted around in different places, get the bar shoved on, and then obviously when they've got it where they want it, after maybe 15 minutes that glue will just take up. But it's not like loads and loads of glue. Basically you'd have to cut it off if that was the case. But there'll be like a little line down this back edge that I've just said. There'll be a couple of dots around here and a couple of dots there and a couple of dots there, sort of thing, just to keep the grip in place. But yeah, just twist it off. Just twist it, sorry. You might find I twisted it clockwise, but on your bike, if you were doing something like this, you might find that going anti-clockwise might be easier. But for this one, clockwise did the job. So what I'll do is I'll just knock, in fact I won't even knock the camera off, I'll just, if I can find one, I'll just grab a blade and scrape the rest of this glue off. Should be a blade kicking about. Right, I've just got a little bit of strip of metal, and all I'm going to do is just where the high lumps are, where the glue's been, just scrape it off. You can feel where it's been, and you just want to scrape it all off, and then it doesn't interfere with the new grips that you're going to, well, the only reason I've took this off, by the way, is because, as I've stated earlier, fitting heated grips. If I wasn't putting new grips on and I was just putting the chrome housings, etc., I wouldn't have bothered pulling that off. But just feel with your finger, and you can feel the high spots where the glue's been. And once you've got it all, it's fine to put your other, well, I'm not putting it on yet because I've got to put wires through it yet, but I will get the grip out. That's the new grips that's going on. There's, I don't know if you can see, I don't know if I can get that to turn in the, I don't know if you'll see in the camera, but exactly the same grips as what's on the electric glide. Now they've got a connection on there, on that end, which, as you can see there, that goes in. You've got the on-off settings off at the end right up to number 6. It's on set on number 5 at the minute. You just turn that to wherever you want it. That's off. 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. But you've got a wire that comes through from the throttle side right through the middle of the handlebars, comes out this end and plugs into this, and this is the one that sends power through to the throttle cable side so that the throttle cable can twist. Sorry, so that the throttle grip can twist. But yeah, just get it on to where you want it, and then obviously your new housing, I'll just show you with the old housing because I haven't got the new ones out yet. But get that where it, let's go to the bottom actually, that's it. It says hey. That's it. So as you can see there, obviously it'll be chrome housings, but that's basically it. Once they're tightened on, the grip can't come off. So you don't need bother and glue with this one. I've had, I've had grips on these sort of grips on that electric glide now for the last 6 years. I haven't had it move. So I mean, obviously if you take the thing off, then yeah, fall off. So, right, we'll just stick these to one side for now. And what I said I was going to do was put the chrome switches on, switch covers should I say. Now on the older models, these had oh, that's something cool. And I've just noticed that on these newer ones compared to like my older ones that I've got, obviously that's just an indicator, but you've got trip, which operates the trip and your dash, horn obviously, but then you've got main beam back to dip, but you've also pressed the dip again, it also acts as a flashy light, which I'm going to test mine now because I don't think mine do that. No, they don't, on either of them. No, that's quite a cool feature really. But anyways, what I was going to say is on these covers, on the older ones you had springs that sat, I don't know how well you can see, if I zoom in a little bit, try and keep it in view. Right, see, just there on the thing, there's like that round bit there, that's obviously what the cover clips onto. But on the older ones they have a spring that sits inside there, so that when you press that, it's the spring on the old one that makes it come back. But on this one, on these ones, it doesn't look as if they have the spring, it must be in the actual box of bits itself. So right, I'm just going to zoom you back out. And what I'll do is I'll get a tool that's that I can take them off with without. You just go steady with these as well, because if you just fucking harsh with them, you're just going to damage the actual switch. So, little electrical screwdriver if I can find it. Right, I don't know where I've put that, but I've got one anyways. Right, so basically just put your little screwdriver just under the edge and just flip it up. Now basically what I did, if I can screw that up, put the screwdriver end in and I just twisted it. I didn't, yes I levered it a little bit, but I twisted it, which just flips it up. Tell you what, I'll push that back on. And I'll do it again, I'll fucking zoom in though. Yeah. So we keep out of everything and keep it in view. Right, so screwdriver in. Now you just lever it out ever so slightly, and once you've levered it out ever so slightly, just twist the screwdriver and you see it just popped. And then a little bit awkward because it's very hard to get down into this side, but basically it's that side's exactly the same. I might need a different tool because this screwdriver might not be small enough. Right, I'm going to push that back on. I'm just going to knock you off for a minute and I'll be back in a minute. Right, I'm back. What I've done, I've found me proper electrical screwdriver, which is it's not much difference that way, but it's a lot thinner than that other one I had. Now I'm going to change the way I'm doing this. I'm going to go down going to see if I can do this on with the camera view. Everything's backwards, so just bear with me. Right, screwdriver in. I'll do this side so because I can see it. Screwdriver in, and I'm not levering, I'm not pushing the screwdriver down. What I'm going to do is twist the screwdriver. So I've got it in behind that bit, but on the inside of the switch. So I just put it in, it's on the inside now, and what I'm going to do is just turn the screwdriver and see how it clicked, and then just go back to the other side, do exactly the same as I did before. Try not to let that go back down, so I'll just get my finger under there, and then basically just lever it a little bit and then just twist the screwdriver, and that went for a flying lesson. So, but that's off anyways, and while that's off, just make note of what's what. If you're not sure, you know, do them one at a time. Obviously you've got lights there. That was the horn. Indicator you can't really get mixed up, but them two you could. So just remember, lights is on the right hand side. So I'm just going to do the same again on this one. And then I'll try and keep out of it this time. So that's that off. And that, I'll just stick that to one side. And then same with the indicator. Just flip the inside edge up. That whole thing just come off actually. So what I'll do now is I'll just let that hang. I'll zoom back out. Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to knock you off a minute. I'm going to go and get the new switch sheet covers. I'll be back in a sec.